Between 2000 and 2008, during that 8-year time, nearly 600 people were added to the payroll with an average loaded per person cost of $50,000. That added alone around $30 million per year to the budget. Today we have fewer employees than in 2008, but we'd like to understand what kind of personnel increases or decreases you would plan, since adding personnel adds a permanent cost, and it also increases our long-term liabilities, which has been a big issue. And this is a 60-second question. So, Mr. Waugh, give us your thoughts. Adding people, taking away people.
I think the basic bottom line answer is that the union will never allow you to take personnel away. So you're going to have to live with that for now. So what you're going to have to do is make the most of what personnel you have. Like I said earlier, reshuffling people, moving them where they're needed and not where they think they're wanted. I know, just based on my mom working for the county, I would go see my mom, 7:45 she starts work, 8 o'clock is her first coffee break. Funny, yeah. And then about 9:30, second coffee break. So my question is, why? Why don't we maximize people? Why don't we put them where they're needed? Again, these unions, I'll tell you right now, I was a union member, so I understand that they're going to fight for the working class. But here's the thing, we need to maximize effort out of each and every person that is hired by the county government.
Mr. Hoffman, you're next. And I do just want to emphasize that there are fewer employees today than in 2008. So in the last 8 years, the employee count in the county has gone down, and we're interested in what your plans are relative to personnel, since personnel definitely equate to money that comes from our property taxes and our rent.
I think some of the figures that we're talking about as far as personnel may also have to include the number of special assistants and contractors that don't factor into union payrolls at all. I think what's necessary is some of the work that we do may not be necessary anymore. And we need to see whether the reports that we thought were important 10 years ago are still important today. And if they're not, then those people have to, as a number of candidates have already suggested, be moved to other positions within the county where additional work is required. I do think that one of the first things that I would do as mayor is to make certain a top-to-bottom review of where we are with personnel and what we consider important, and make certain that the people that we do have on the job are suited for the job, are trained to do the job that they're hired to do, and are effective employees of the county. By doing that, I think we'll minimize cost over the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCandless.
Personnel ads, I actually think that we need to add another grant position. We need a grant writer who's going to get us money so that we are not taxing our people. We need somebody who's helping us find alternative methods to gain revenue for our county. Going after grants is one form of doing so. It's a specialized position that I don't necessarily think can be found solely in the county, and it is a position that I definitely think that we need to seek out. As far as the current positions that exist in the county, I do think that there are some positions that need to be diversified or reallocated. However, it's not so easy to be able to do that. Most positions within the county are specialized in nature and the knowledge in which the clerks learn, or examiners, or whatever position they're in, analysts, accountants, etc. It's something that we need to take a look at, but we need to add a grant writing position.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant, 60 seconds.
I appreciate that you opened the door on the 2000-2008 increase in county employees. If I'm not mistaken, those were Mary Kim's years. We need to think about that, because Mayor Kim's coming back to saying he can fix things. Well, he didn't fix them very well in 2000-2008. So let's pay attention a little bit to the fact that we do have unions here, and unions are very important to control the situation per se from their perspective. But reassigning people is one of the answers. And you can reassign people to jobs that they are not going to like, and maybe they will leave. That's a possibility too. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth of the matter. If you're loved by your coworkers, that's one thing. But if you're not loved by your coworkers, you're heading out the door. That's what's going to happen. So take that.
Thank you. Mr. Weiner.
So I know one of the major things about hiring someone at the county is a lot of the county budget is allocated now towards retirement funds and such. So the decision to hire someone into the county is a very big decision and has to be very well thought about beforehand. At the same time, we have to address the needs of the people and the services the county offers. So balancing that in the correct way, I believe the department heads and those people have a great idea of what to do. And with my leadership to support them in their decisions to make what they feel that needs to be done is the way I would approach this situation.
Ms. Hapai, 60 seconds. You've sort of gone through this at the university level, but talk about, as county mayor, what kind of personnel increases or decreases you would anticipate.
Okay, I did take a look at the budget and realized, just like Eric did, 20% of the budget is allocated for health funds and retirement benefits, and that's a lot. And so I think as we go forward, there are different ways of reducing your staff, and some of it is just through attrition and retirements, and that would be something we could look at so people don't have to lose their jobs. But on the other hand, how do we address other services? And that's how, through public-private partnerships, I've seen Palamanui, what a wonderful example. Schwab gave the money for the building, the state put in the infrastructure, and the county put in the park. Beautiful example. And and grant writing, and what I would like to see is department heads that have some experience so that at least they can orchestrate the process and we don't have to hire consultants to do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lau, personnel increases or decreases?
You know, the county is just one family. And so therefore, my attitude towards that is that instead of only having your department, departments can share bodies. They can share plumbers. They can share electricians. They can share carpenters with each other. We don't need more carpenters. We just got to learn how to share. And that's what I witnessed the 7 years, is that the atmosphere, the culture of working together within departments, within the cabinet, so that we don't have to always bring in new positions. I think the other thing that we need to also take a look at, and we have, is to continue to look where technology can be used instead of a warm body along the way. But you know, the other side, the population is 196,000. We got to be very careful to make sure that we provide public safety.
Thank you. Mr. Kim, clearly this question goes back to your administration, because between 2000 and 2008, nearly 600 people were added to the payroll. The budget jumped from 375, it went from 175 million to 403 million, 230% increase between 2000 and 2008. So clearly the concern is, if you're going to be mayor again, is that the kind of personnel increase that we could see? Is that kind of budget increase we could see? 60 seconds, please.
I wish I had more time to answer that question, because the question, insinuations of that is very, very unfair. I ask all of you, there's a yellow piece of paper out there, looks like this, that will tell you about your tax rates. In regards to personnel, do you know that almost 300 of that was police and fire, because the previous administration, because of such a tight economy, would not allow any kind of hiring or promotion for about 3 years. Naturally, there's a lot of catch-up to do. Go look at the figures. 300 of them were police and fire. They were so far back. In regards to the total figure, that is so unfair in regards to the numbers game. Count the people on contract as a total. We did not create positions. They were there that had to be filled. I want you to take a look at tax. We cut taxes. Take a look at what the tax rates for you are today in comparison to what it was when we were there.
Thank you, Mr. Kim.